Let me see. Yeah, we all the way up there. And a glorious good afternoon to each and every one of you. Welcome to We the People. We come to you each and every Thursday in the 2 o'clock hour just to remind you that you have power and say so in the government. And this is a big election year, folks. Now, Malcolm X once said, education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to pay attention. We got to get smarter about putting folks in office. And this is the year. This is the make or break year, I got to tell you. Because democracy, or as Michaela once said, the soul of this nation. That's what's on the ballot.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Angela Taylor. I am your host, and I'm here with my absolute favorite millennial, Michaela McCray. I call her Eminem because she can take the heat under pressure. and also our next county executive. Please turn the camera on, Tanya Sweat. Okay. Because again, we need some honest brokers in government.
Yeah, for sure.
And we ain't got them, especially in Prince George's County. So as I have been telling you every week and will continue to tell you every week until election time, TONYA space SWEAT. You want to put that Post-it note on your refrigerator, on your bedroom mirror, on your bathroom mirror, every place you can. And you can vet her because she does help the community. And I don't know very many lawyers, and I've worked in the legal industry for about 30 years, who gonna work for free because they see something wrong and they want to make it right. So again, we have an honest broker in Tanya Sweat. That is the oval that you want to fill in on your ballot. And if you don't see it, write a name. Write it in. We absolutely have to get that done. Okay, I don't have any formal announcements other than the Department of Service and Community Innovation. They now have a website. You can go get that information if you're looking for that service year option, those folks who graduated high school during the Zoom years, or if you are a senior who has a little more gas in the tank and wants to do something for the state, please go to dsci.maryland.gov and get that information. Or you can text the word Maryland to 21000 and get the information as well. Yeah, we're starting a little late, but I have got to talk about this candidate forum that I went to. We ain't on the feds yet. We on PG. Okay. Because I would be remiss if I did not. I went to a candidate forum for District 5 School Board on Tuesday. There were 4 candidates there. Excuse me. And I immediately disqualified one who, I was asking for names. I just wanted to know folks' names because there's nothing sweeter than the sound of your name. That's right, what that is I'm thinking. Okay. And this woman, Miss Kim Carter, assumed that I did not know that there was a school board. There was only one person who represented education. There's more than one district, right? I'm saying. I mean, she was very.
Oh.
It was insulting.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it was insulting. Also, I gleaned from that folks were talking about, well, we need a new school in Bowie and that kind of thing. I'm saying, to me, that says that you don't know what's going on with the budget.
Right.
Yeah, currently. So that is, these are new folks. They want to do something, yada, yada. I get that. But don't step up there and assume that everybody's dumb and you're the smartest person in the room, because that is what I got from it.
Yeah, you can't be condescending when you're running for office.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, this was always what I wanted to see in my candidate, so I tried to be that myself.
Right.
If you're running because you see a problem, don't always talk about the problem. You got to come with solutions.
Exactly.
Now, I say that, and I understand that you can't give all the details for your solutions because people will steal your ideas.
Of course.
And they will mess them. They will mess them up royally. It has been done. But you got to have solutions because people elect government officials to solve problems.
But here's another thing too. The incumbent was saying when they were asking, "Why do you want this office?" I want to continue the work that I'm doing.
What
to
you
me,
doing?
Exactly.
What
That
you-
was
exactly.
my.
What are you doing?
Yeah. What you doing?
What you doing?
You should have a record that you can run on if you're the incumbent.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't care what you say about the county executive, the current one we have. She got a record.
it should be a
Credible
criminal one,
I was
but
gonna say credible or not, she got a record,
And people are-
she gonna run on it.
People are patterns.
Yeah,
Like if I already saw what you done did,
Yeah.
why do I think it's gonna be anything different?
yeah, exactly. And
Like don't insult me. Like
Yeah.
don't gaslight me.
yeah, that forum, I was very insulted by.
Yeah.
Not only from the people on the stage, but you're in there for an hour. Are you going to remember everything people say? Not one. I was the only person in there that had a notepad.
Yeah.
And so to me, that said, I'm here because the PTA called me to be here.
Well, that's why people be so confused of
Uh-huh.
what's going on. Oh, they said they was gonna do that. I don't remember they said.
Exactly.
Oh, and then now, honestly, people say, well, I heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but are you listening?
Yeah.
Because people will tell you exactly what they're gonna do, and they are telling us exactly what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
and a lot of people discredited Michaela because they said people say anything to get elected.
Yeah. Yeah, but again,
Hold them to it.
yeah, but this is where we mess up. This
Yeah,
is
that
why-
accountability.
Yeah, the accountability piece is
Yeah.
crucial. Now, there were two folks. Are you familiar with Robin Brown? Do you know her at all?
A little bit,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you know your Meaty House?
That
Yeah.
one is a new name to me.
Yeah.
I've seen some postings on social media, but I
Yeah.
don't know a lot about.
But just they were, to me, it came across as personable, knowledgeable. But the thing that I liked best was they both came across as genuine, even though
Right.
they clearly didn't know that we're so in the hole in terms of budget. And the shiny pennies. We want a new school, that kind of thing. That just annoys the hell out of me.
Okay.
Well, look, people.
Go ahead.
We get ready to roll on into phase 2 of the new schools.
Mm-hmm.
I keep saying, y'all need to know how much we paying for phase 1.
Mm-hmm.
And all them shiny new pennies look good. I mean, hell, excuse me. We got the big school over in Fort Washington that's only got one school of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in there at the moment. So the rest of the building is we heating it and lighting it and air conditioning it, and the children aren't there yet. But it's gonna cost for a long time. And when you fussing about your taxes are going up now on your real estate, I don't see where it's gonna be able to go down anytime soon because of this crazy scheme the county has gotten us in to build these new schools that we want.
That we had no say so.
No say so. And I'll tell anybody, I have no problem with new schools. That's not the issue. Absolutely, we needed new schools. My biggest heartburn about all of this is, why haven't we been trying to get these new schools before now, number one? Number two, why didn't we go up to the Maryland State Department of Education, the joint board or the state board that oversees school construction and the school construction budget, and beg and plead with them to put more money in the school system here in Prince George's County? And when they did give us money, why didn't we use it?
Go ahead. You itching.
I got a lot of questions.
Ask away.
I just be a little confused at what's the reason? Just what's the reason? I think so.
What's the reason for?
Any of this? Any of it. All of it. Every bit of it. Because my thing about it is, well, because we understand that this system, it runs like a sentence. Everyone comes with their part of the sentence so that we can have this whole understanding. And so if people get elected like Mr. Cruz, who was here the other day talking about a total transformation of the curriculum and how it looks with like technology, like are these schools going to be designed with that in mind? What type of schools are we building? Like, what are we doing?
Okay. Well, I'm so here with you on that. But a question that I had that did not get answered. Well, I had a few that I had that did not get answered. We are, and I don't know if this is nationwide, but I know it's true in Prince George's County. We've been over backwards for immigrants. Okay. People, we teach them how to speak English. So when they graduate, go through all the way through, they can go to the marketplace and they're they're more marketable because they can speak English and Spanish. Why are we not putting that same resource
Oh, absolutely.
into the homegrown folks?
That's too powerful to have that many people that can communicate. That's too powerful.
Yeah, but to my mind, and only to my mind, it's not what's separate but equal is inherently unequal. It's unequal.
It is. And not even in that way, because you're designing this curriculum, you're designing this space with the subconscious awareness that you're producing young citizens, young people for a progressive projection of what you desire, but you're doing the same exact thing. And if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you always. Okay. Okay. And that's something that we really have to contend with when we're looking at the education system. I understand it hasn't been fixed in all this time. We can argue that it was broken from the start. I got all of that. There's a need, and the need is for the young people to be taught, for people to learn. And then too, we can't just even criticalize it to just the young people. Learning should be something that is incorporated in our everyday lives. It should be a skill that's taught to learn, because so many people are stuck in an awareness that they never grow out of. Some people, when they say, well, I graduate, I have a lot of our ancestors had 8th grade education,
Elementary school, yeah.
but the teaching was far greater than that. The brilliant people.
Let me break it down for you, Kayla, because you have a very valid point. You have no idea how right you are right now, darling. Do you know in the state of Maryland? In the state of Maryland, training is not at the forefront of any employee's employee work record.
Excuse me?
Yes.
No.
Let me tell you, I'm a lawyer in the state of Maryland. And there's no mandatory continuing legal education in this state. So you have attorneys who haven't done any training since they left law school. But they are here litigating cases, arguing cases in the courthouse. Now, I do 14 hours mandatory continuing legal education every year, and have done so every year of my career, because my home state, South Carolina, which I still have a license, requires it.
Big facts.
And I have to submit my report every year, and trust me, it gives me a headache, because they don't accept not one class that I take in the state of Maryland, because Maryland does not have a mandatory requirement. So I have to pay additional money and sometimes go outside of this state to get my continuing legal education so that it counts at home. When you look at other professionals in the state of Maryland, there's no mandatory education classes while you're working. So people are practicing on you, and they don't necessarily have the latest skills. When you look at
Or
government,
any skill.
No, I thought that.
no,
that
ma'am.
was-
When
that-
you no, ma'am.
Go ahead.
When you look at local government, look at the budget. There ain't no training in that budget. So you got people who have been put into jobs, and some of them don't even know how to do these jobs, other than what they've
Clearly.
been told by their supervisor, and the supervisor don't even know how to do the job. So they're doing it wrong. And then they look at me like something wrong with me, because I'm stupid enough to go to training classes and learn the latest and the greatest in technology and advancements in whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I was working at law firm, and that's why I thought that was just a foregone conclusion.
No,
if you
ma'am.
will. It was mandated. You had to go to that continuing legal
No,
education
ma'am, that is not the
class.
standard.
Yeah, well, at every law firm I worked at, you got time off to do that.
It's a part of your work
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
In the
exactly.
federal government, they made us go to training classes.
Yeah.
They paid for the classes, and it's considered my duty for the day. I'm at work. I'm
Yeah,
getting paid
exactly.
to do the class that they paid for me to do.
And then too, I think it goes down to, it's not even just that's something that's just subjective to the, you know, law environment. I see it in everyday spaces. If you, and I think it's something right now that we're contending with when it comes to the value of education as a whole. You know, you have people that can come to work same hours every day for 10 to 15 years, and they'll progress to a space that is over or in some type of supervising type position when they are not qualified to be leaders, because at no point did they ever have to submit to be led.
Right.
And you see that in, I don't think right now I'm thinking of a place where it's not prevalent, you know, and it even trickles down to the education system. One of my biggest things is we feel like teaching is something that we can mass produce. It's not.
No.
You have to have this gift of knowing to be able to enlighten someone on some type of level. And much of what's in the education system right now, and this is the first thing that we have to contend with, it's the first thing that we have to acknowledge, that a lot of the people that are designated to teach and educate the next generation have a warped sense of reality. Number one, they're not qualified. They don't know how to deal with the social economic implications or the emotional implications of the latter generation. And instead of us dealing with that from the core, from the root, we want to just make pervasive statements like, well, you know, it'll get better, or we'll try this little piece to change, and it really needs an entire makeover when it comes to our education system. But the only people who are going to be able to do that are the people in the communities, you know, the people that are a part of those systems, to hold people, yet again, like we say, accountable for what they designed for us.
The school is only going to be as good as the community around it. And over the years, I have heard teachers say, now, this is since my kids have been out of school, I got mine, you got yours to get. Something that I really believe that we are missing is people think because they got this milestone, the high school diploma or the bachelor's degree or the master's degree, you know, I have arrived. I know
Where?
everything. We don't work on ourselves, and
Correct.
and we need to
That
do
is
that.
a problem.
I think that makes us very arrogant as a collective. That
I would agree.
very arrogant that I'm gonna put time and a price tag and a cap on learning and knowing and knowledge, and that's why you got a bunch of idiots running around here talking about I'm a grandma, I'm a granddaddy, I have a lineage, and it's like you have a mess. That's
No.
what you have. You
And
have
it's-
a hot
look,
mess.
And it's not just arrogance. It also makes us very naive and very, very gullible.
And vulnerable, right? Heavy
not
on
vulnerable, gullible.
That. Well, to the information that we
Six
receive.
on one hand, half a dozen on
And,
the other.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna say this.
Yeah,
And I'm not trying to embarrass anybody, but we have local government employees who will put on a green shirt and go campaign for somebody, and then tell you I can't vote for you, because I'll lose my job. Do you know that the law prohibits such a thing?
Yeah.
I have people quote the Hatch Act to me, and I go, take a step back, because I have trained people in the Hatch Act. The Hatch Act don't say nothing about what you saying. What the Hatch Act says is you should not have on that green T-shirt and collect the check working
Yes.
under that supervision. That is
Exactly.
illegal. You cannot campaign for your supervisor. That's political activities in the government workplace.
Workplace,
You
exactly.
cannot do that. The Hatch Act says on your private time, you can do whatever you want to do,
Exactly.
but you cannot do that with government dollars.
workspace.
And it's done in this county regularly.
Yeah.
And the people who are supposed to have oversight say nothing about it.
Yeah.
They allow it to happen. I sat through a live presentation on Facebook, and I'm going to call his name. Our ethics official in the county, Mr. Todd Turner. I thank you for the presentation, sir. But my question to you is, how often do you train Prince George's County government employees on the stuff you trained on Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago?
And how often do you call them to account when you know this stuff
That
is
should
going?
be mandatory every year.
I mean, but
especially election year.
here's the deal. You're getting this now. Why? Because it's an election cycle. because
Exactly.
He's running for the Senate.
We
And,
paying for that ugly pamphlet?
With
we-
tax dollars, yes,
we
ma'am, we
absolutely
are.
are.
Absolutely.
We absolutely are. And who told me?
She could have sent an email.
Well, they do that too.
I don't get emails from her anymore.
Oh,
I do not.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, because but the first show, first radio show that I did, she obliged us coming in, but that was her first run for county executive, and then our listening audience began when she got in office. We started paying attention. We said, "You are not the answer to this question," but we are stuck in this cycle of familiarity. That's the name I know. That's the face I see. That's the box.
And we
I
got
check.
to ride that familiarity for 2 more years.
That-
Just gonna put that.
That's the hill I'm willing to die on.
Yeah, me too.
Buckle up. Roll with it.
I just think it's so sad. It's a travesty, the way in which we govern this country, and the way in which we have convinced people that they have no power, and oppression is acceptable. It almost seems now that oppression is veered upon. It's like a badge of honor to try and take advantage or take
other
of
folks.
other
And
people.
yes.
It's too. This is crazy, and the fact that the and I see it from both sides of the spectrum. Like, you have to be arrogant and out your mind to think that you're gonna get away with this, and then you have to be so low within yourself to think that I have no power over rights of myself. And I get it. I am one to. I can almost articulate in certain words what that feeling is, but at some point you have to realize I have enough love within myself to demand just a little more, okay?
Yeah.
Just a little more. I'm not asking you not to try me no more. I'm not asking you not to give me a good battle, but I'm asking for a fair fight. And every day as Americans, on from a social economic standard, we are already starting a lap behind.
Yeah, we definitely behind eight.
I need people to understand minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour.
And there are people who will argue that it's not.
No.
Today.
No.
Yeah, they are, because they get caught in the state law. State law
Yeah.
says minimum wage is $15, but the federal minimum wage is still $7.12 an hour.
So let me tell you how to be mathing. Let me tell you, that's why Miss Angela told y'all there's 3 things that you will always contend with in life, and math is one of them, okay? Whether you have $7.25 an hour and a salary, dividing that salary between certain numbers will still give you the percentage of how much $7.25 is in this economy and however much $15.50 is in the other economy. They move the goalpost to where it's the same amount that you're receiving.
right.
That's how math works.
Yes.
So for people to sit there, we still live to this day in a country where the country does not provide you with the necessary equitable resources to survive, and one of those resources is money.
Well, and I'm gonna break it down in plain English for you. Whether you're making $7.25 an hour or $15 an hour, you still ain't making enough money to live. It still ain't a livable wage.
Yes,
That's what she's
exactly.
telling you.
Drop mic and repeat that for the people in the back, and then let me even throw in another gag, because it always has to be something. Say that you finally do the research, take the courses, get the degrees, slam the job. If you don't have certain pieces to your puzzle of life, the government thinks that they can take a certain amount that puts you back at making $15.50, $7.25 an hour. So I don't care how you look at it, you are gonna be affected by it. And so until we decide that I've had enough, I'm not working for pennies and scraps. I'm not about to implore this new identity of slavery by another name. Okay, I'm demanding a little bit more for myself, and I get it. The entrepreneurial market, it has some things that need to be, perfected or even cleaned up a little bit. But at the end of the day, working for people that dictate how much that you make and how much you're worth does nothing for the American people. And I think I said this a little while ago. When we're talking about a utopian world, it's not as hard as we think it can really be. Giving people the resources necessary to live an equitable life. That's all that our Constitution is really telling us. But we skew little moments. We take out what we want. We leave what we don't, and we create these policies that we subconsciously vote for because we're not asking the proper questions
exactly.
to hold you accountable for the things that you're doing. So we have to be aware of how we're complicit in the demise of us as a people.
And this is another thing too that I do not and I never will understand. If the federal government, if you have a home-based business, if the government is going to give you the same tax benefits that they give all other businesses, why wouldn't you take advantage of it?
Cause why? Cause you don't think you're worth it.
Yeah.
You don't think you deserve it.
Well, and I say this. It's not just about understanding the government. You got to understand the economics of it. And the economics of it is not explained in the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah.
The economics of it is not explained in the United States Code. The economics of anything is not in the Maryland Code.
For sure.
Yeah, it's not because.
So you've got to learn the economics of it. You've got to understand what capitalism is all about and how it shakes out. And while the Federal Reserve is a federal agency, you better understand how that quasi-federal agency really works. Because your tax dollars does not exclusively, it's not exclusive that your tax dollars support the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve makes money on its own.
Yeah, exactly.
And uses that money to influence how our economy works, how our interest rates go up and down, how your bonds are paid or not paid, how your automated clearinghouse transactions, that's what ACH stands for, just for the people in the back, as Michaela likes to say, how your automated clearinghouse transactions are processed.
Right.
So if you don't understand that piece of the puzzle, I don't give a damn what your home-based business is.
You're not
It
even-
ain't gonna be successful.
And you're not even in the game. You already starting off not in the game. Your shoelaces aren't tied. You're
Yeah,
not
but,
ready.
I look at something as simple as if people didn't put their money in the bank, banks
Bro,
wouldn't have no money.
just tell them cut me a check, get you a nice safe. That's what I'm saying. Like we get exploited a lot for the convenience that we have adopted as a people. Like we literally give them all of our power and tools. Not everybody, you know, because you gonna have to fight me over this one. But we literally give them all of the powers and tools necessary to aid in our demise. Like I can't say it any simpler than that. Like.
We've been indoctrinated.
And that indoctrination is a mother to fight with, okay? Because y'all be holding on to them lies like
You're
as if
naive.
they were.
You're gullible.
yes,
You're vulnerable.
very much.
You don't
so.
have to know it as well as I know it, but you need to know the basics.
Know something,
one-on-one stuff.
and you ain't gotta know everything. Know something, okay? And if you know, and you can take it from any aspect. You know, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing tells us the 9 areas in which we're mostly affected as a people is economics, education, entertainment, law, labor, politics, sex, and war. And so, at some point, you're being taken advantage in some aspect. You gotta. We talked about it, Miss Angela. You got to decide what are your boundaries. What are you not going to give up on within yourself?
Exactly. And if you don't know, I will tell you again, I don't care where you go on this globe. Every society is based on 5 tenets. It is the family,
Yeah.
education, it is government, it's economics, and it is religion. I don't care if you live in a democracy or a dictatorship. Those 5 tenets hold true everywhere. And the thing that impacts us most is government. And that's the thing that we know the least about.
Yeah, and I understand, y'all, that it is a lot. It's like, oh, that's overwhelming. That's a lot of stuff to know. That's why I said you don't really have to know everything. But you do have to know something. And in that something, once you start, trying to figure out what's the truth, what do I need to get at and like really, really stand on. Once you get that one little piece, all the other pieces fall into place because you decide, what am I not going to allow to happen? Where does my boundary lie? And once you find them boundaries within yourself and within your peace of mind, the world starts to shake for you. And it's like, no, I'm not going to let you oppress me today.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, it is my right to not be oppressed by you today, okay?
And that's why I have and will continue to shake my palms from Tanya Sweat.
And I tell people, I don't want to hear that it's a lot to know. We all know a lot about something. The question is, what's important to you?
Ooh.
Yeah. Yep.
People do what they want with their time, their money, and their resources.
You got it.
That is very true. But again, we have got to pay the thing that impacts us most is the thing we know the least about.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that that's why we are societally where we are, is because for so long we did not pay attention.
Bro, we distracted. We're
wanna be
confused.
entertained.
God, look, we love to laugh. Let me tell you something. You ain't gonna be laughing when this history I've been trying to put y'all up on game becomes your reality, okay? It ain't gonna ha ha key until you hear them clank clanks. That's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to be real and like really give you the recipe for success, because let me tell you how easy and simple it is to create a disaster. If we take critical race theory out of the schools and we do not teach our past and our history, if we don't go back to the Sankofa bird and really get what we had what we left behind in the past and put it forth towards our future, then we're going to be sitting here confused at how did it get this bad so quickly? You know what I'm saying? Because it don't take long. And I tell people all the time, we got to first contend with that, the institution of slavery was a law.
Yes.
It was legal, baby. Wasn't nothing I could do about it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so don't hand up all of the tools they need to create a box around you that you can't get out of. Don't do it. What the old
Don't
people say?
embarrass the ancestors.
Don't embarrass us out here. Don't embarrass me.
Do not.
All right, Ms. Angela, you gave me a homework assignment.
I did indeed. I did indeed. And I think I have. Bam. Got it.
I knew she was coming with it.
Yeah. I said, what?
Yes.
Not you had a
Speaking
homework
of government.
Yeah, speaking of government. This child sex offenders in the school system.
Oh. Yeah.
That's one thing I'm just, what? That's what front. Now, the school board, because I know, and I think we talked about this a couple of months back, when I know a little boy who took a picture, prank. He's a kid. He took a picture he just stuck his phone under while somebody was using the bathroom and snapped a picture. He could wind up on the sex offenders registry.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's as low as age 7. I did not know that.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
did know that.
That's federal
I
law.
did know that.
That is not state law.
Yeah.
You get convicted of a sexual offense. Yes, you must go on the registry. You are required.
At 7?
Yes, even at
Yes.
7. You're a sexual deviant. Sorry, it is what it is. Every so often you have to check in and update your information. On that registry is where you're living. So your address is no longer private. It's public. Yeah.
But
You
doesn't
can't-
this say
you
that the
can't
school
go-
board, that's a job of the school board to find alternative?
Well, this is the deal.
Yeah.
This is the problem. Because the sex offender registry is not limited to an age, like you said, 7. Yes. And the Constitution of the state of Maryland guarantees an education, a free, appropriate public education to every child born in this state or is a resident or citizen of the state of Maryland. The problem is, once you're on the sex offender registry, technically you're not supposed to be in our public schools.
Right,
That's
right.
one of the things, you're banned. You can't be around children. Well, how do you educate a child who's on the sex offender registry if they can't go to school?
Right.
So all of a sudden now, Maryland has figured this thing out and said, well, we now have an obligation to create an educational environment for those children who are on the registry, because we also have a legal requirement to educate them. So that's what that bill is about.
Yeah.
But
But here's well, at least we know one thing that the school board is supposed to be doing.
Well, that's
because I don't think they know what they're supposed to be
That's
doing. I really
psychotic.
don't.
Let me tell you why that's psychotic. Because I remember I did this program in undergrad. It was called See the Girl, and it was pretty much just studying the behaviors and the needs for inner city girls in the public school system. And then on the contrary, there was some research going on about like the over sexualization of young black boys when it came to education, because I've heard cases that this has affected people who, when there's a young boy in the classroom that kisses a little girl, and the parents can say that this was assault. And so you're absolutely right. We are criminalizing children for actions and behaviors that we have presented to them for them to learn, and then we don't create safe spaces to teach them. We over sexualize their mind with TV. So that's what I'm saying. Like this is, it sounds psychotic. It sounds like some.
When you put it that way, it really
Well,
does.
But that's what it is.
And this is what makes it worse. In Maryland, that's why we have this thing called a commissioner. Criminal charges can be brought by any citizen against another citizen.
Yes.
Right. That's constant. That's one of them amendments. 7 or 8.
Generally, in many other states, criminal charges can only be brought by a prosecuting attorney, or they can be initiated by law enforcement. Even when they're initiated by law enforcement, they still have to go through review by a prosecuting attorney who would then formalize the charges.
Right.
Not in
right.
Maryland. You can walk into the commissioner's office and say, I want to charge this person with a crime. And if you got the evidence to show that there's probable cause that the crime has been committed, then it's the charges are issued, the arrest warrant can be issued,
Right.
and then it goes to the state's attorney's office to determine whether they're going to prosecute it.
Right.
So now you're in a situation where any citizen can raise or levy criminal charges against another person. And in some instances, I've never seen this happen, but I would question whether a private citizen could push the issue into court.
They can.
And prosecute.
Yeah, but this is what I had an attorney
I
told me.
said I
Okay.
question it because state law says the state's attorney is the authority figure who's supposed to prosecute criminal
Right.
cases in the courthouse. But there's a loophole there, I dare say. And so I would love to see what would happen if a private citizen pushed the issue and said, well, the state's attorney doesn't want to prosecute my case, but I'm going to prosecute my own case and I'm going to push it pro se.
Right.
I'd love to see how that shook
I
out.
mean-
Well, I've
I
had
mean-
attorneys tell me, because I remember when I was marketing legal services membership, and I used to have in-depth conversations with attorneys. And I will never forget what he told me. All you have to do, and this is, I'm not talking about criminal, I'm talking
Right.
about civil. All you have to do is decide you want to sue somebody. If you got to retain the money,
You can sue somebody.
Well, I tell people that all the time. You can sue civilly for anything.
Yeah.
The question is always, can
but
you
it's
prove
crazy.
it? Can you prove it? And
But
can
that's
you
what
win?
I'm saying. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. We will the United States law with what we have going on as like the foundational awareness of what we should and should not do. Right? At the end of the day, what we just said is the craziest thing. You have 7-year-olds that can be criminally charged as sex offenders, and their entire lives are ruined by
Exactly.
perceptions that we have created as the generation above them. That is the craziest thing.
It is crazy.
to be aware of, that we ruined the life. Like, this baby don't even get a chance to live, but we want to push certain agendas that have been
Well,
from top to bottom. Well, where's the safe loophole in that for the young people? You know,
There
when
is none.
we switch, absolutely. So,
but the thing is, how many of us have found that to be significant and important enough to go up to Capitol Hill and lobby for an amendment to that law? And
What-
that law has been on the books for years.
Yeah.
This
why-
ain't nothing new.
that, and that's
but
the
again,
part.
but that's new. It's new to me. I mean,
Right.
when I say new to me,
'Cause
Yeah,
I'd say within the past
right.
5
wasn't
years.
it a case in South Carolina
What?
where there was a young boy who kissed a girl, and
Yes.
and the
Yes.
family. Right, so that's what I'm saying. It's
Do
not
you-
far-fetched.
And you think that's ridiculous? That's innocent childhood behavior.
Yes, I
Okay?
know, and we have
Look,
criminalized it.
Let's be honest. I got my first kiss at 8. I'll never forget it because the little boy had oranges on his lips, and I was like, "Wow, you kissed me with orange pope, lovely." I ain't gonna call his name, but it was cute. Our mothers were dear friends. You know, they thought it was cute, and most
Right.
people do.
But
But
in
let's talk about those teenagers who are of the age of consent to have sex. But because the young man is 18 and he's had sex with a 16-year-old and now they've made a baby, and mom and daddy didn't like it, so they prosecuted him.
What's that?
100.
I thought there had to be 3 years, a 3-year difference for step.
16,
16,
and
you-
18 and a half. It depends upon where you are.
Okay.
It depends upon what state you in.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
So
saying.
you've got men who are permanently on this sex offender registry
For the rest of their
statutory
life.
rape.
For the rest of their
And
life.
they have paid child support to take care of those kids, and a handful of them have married the young lady that they had the baby with, but they still listed as sex offenders. Really?
Literally.
No nobody has gone and lobbied to amend that law.
Let me tell you how crazy this is. Like, wow. These are laws, and that's what I'm telling you. Like, knowing these laws are like is really important. These are laws, and yet we're pushing an agenda that literally is the fertile ground necessary for people to get tripped up in these laws. I mean, I can't tell you how many people are being affected by the over sexualization of our youth, of our children, of our young people. We have created so many different avenues of destruction that you are literally cycling the next generation of people that are going to be consumed by the criminal justice system.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when you get into these spaces, and I'm like, when you look at politics, you cannot see it from a surface level perspective, because this is what you get. Absolutely, 7 years old, you can lose your life with one decision at 7 years old based off of somebody's warped perception. And so yes, that's why the time is now. Like you don't get too many more opportunities. What you gonna wait?
We don't have another.
What you gonna wait until it's on your front doorstep and you lobbying for your 7-year-old son?
Unfortunately, that's usually how it happens.
And
Not
that's
till
why
it
we
comes
got
on
to
my
get
doorstep.
smarter. That's why we got to get smarter. That's why we got to pay attention. We got to. It's like you said. We don't have another chance.
No, you don't have enough. Right now, because math is important. When you're looking at statistically with how many people in certain generations are what the numbers are, we're not producing at a rate necessary to replace a generation. I'm not telling y'all to go out there and make no babies. That ain't what I'm saying. We just have to be conscious of what the numbers are presenting. And so if we can't replace another generation, then we become extinct. That's how serious it is, right?
Yes.
It feels good to talk about it from such a far-fetched, oh, that's so far away, when it's not so far away. A generation is 100 years. Okay? And if we're not having the conversations, if we're not allowing for the platforms to be presented, if we're not taking time to have hard conversations with people who may not think like us, then we're going to be active agents in our demise as an entire human race. That's where we are. So that's why I say this fight is about the soul of America. Are you deciding to be worth saving?
Yeah. And you have to look. You have to have an honest conversation with yourself, and don't think it can't happen.
You're right.
Because I really believe that we take a lot for granted. You know,
sure.
we've been living this way for so long. You know, it ain't gonna change, or my vote is not gonna make a difference, or.
Yeah,
But
vote.
here is what you Bamas need to understand, is that if it didn't make a difference, if it was not important, they wouldn't be trying to take it.
Because, honey, when they start taking stuff that didn't have no value.
Exactly. Okay, did we?
That's the child sex offender law. We had our.
Yeah.
What's the next one you want to talk about?
Okay, but
freedom to read that.
But again, I just want people to understand that according to what I'm reading, your area school board is going to be in charge of
They got to create a school.
They gotta create a school.
Any child.
So that's
on the
one
sex
thing we
offender
know that they have to do. I don't know nothing else. But okay, here's the next thing. Special elections.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait a minute. What? This is convoluted to me. It is. Help me understand it.
All right, I'm gonna break it down for you, Miss Angela, and play
Okay,
it English.
yeah.
Because that was the one you put my name by in big letters.
Yeah,
I said, oh
yeah.
yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So, and just in case y'all missed it, we're talking about bills that are now pending. They've crossed over.
Yeah.
In
the
Maryland.
State of Maryland.
State
yeah.
laws. Monday was what we call crossover day.
Right.
And in the Maryland General Assembly, what happens is if it passes in the House, then it crosses over to be considered in the Senate.
Right.
If it passed in the Senate, it crosses over to be considered in the House. So we're talking about a few of the bills that crossed over on Monday, and they could very likely become law
Become law. Exactly.
on July 1st, October 1st, whatever date they put on them this year. So one of the laws is Senate Bill 29, which talks about or deals with special elections. Now, what is important about this bill? In the state of Maryland, if a delegate or a state senator resigns from office. And we've seen this happen at least 3 times now in Prince George's County.
And the governor appoints somebody.
No,
The county executive.
No.
Who appoints?
the Democratic or the Republican Central Committee,
The DNC.
yes,
I hate
at
them.
the local level, will generally select someone that they want to nominate
Uh-huh.
for appointment by the governor. The
Okay.
It's just not,
So,
not
yeah.
random. I just
Oh
want to
yeah,
pick that
yeah,
person.
yeah. Okay, I know.
So,
it was some steps.
What
but-
a lot of people have done, because they are not necessarily viable candidates in a regular election cycle,
right?
they'll run for the Democratic Central Committee
Mm-hmm.
because most people don't take that seriously, and they'll put you on the committee. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden somebody steps down,
Mm-hmm.
and now you see the politicking begin
Exactly.
in that Central Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of our state senators proposed a bill to say, okay, great, we understand the vacancy needs to be filled,
Right.
but we don't want people to have the opportunity to complete a 3-year balance of a 4-year term based upon an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
We would rather them have to participate in an election cycle. And what is crazy about this bill is, instead of doing a special election because it costs money, what the bill is saying is we'll continue with the appointment. However, in the second year of that person's term, they now have to run for their seat.
In the
in a-
second year.
In the second year,
Okay.
they have to run in a regular election cycle to keep the seat. That's why it gets really convoluted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, similar to a county executive position.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've studied this, unfortunately.
Yeah.
In our county charter, it says if the county executive position becomes vacant during the first 2 years of the county executive's term, the county must have a special election to
Right.
fill the seat.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If the seat becomes vacant in the last 2 years of a term, and remember the term is 4 years,
Yes. Right.
the last 2 years, then the chair of the county council ascends to the seat of
that-
county executive.
Yeah.
Similar situation here. If a seat is vacated during the first or second year of a delegate or a senator's term,
Right.
the appointment can still happen, but at the next immediate election, the person's got to run.
Yeah.
So it saves the state the money because we have 40, I mean, it might be 51 state districts that are represented. I think it's 47
47.
plus.
47. But some
Well,
of
what
them
I'll
have
tell
A's
you is
and
this.
B's.
Yeah, we got 47 state senators, so there are 47 districts and 141 delegates.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you think about people stepping down, how many times you'd have to have a special election, that gets
Right.
very expensive.
Right. Right.
So
right.
you can appoint somebody to fill the term their first 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
but immediately in the next election, you
Okay.
got to put them on the ballot. And
Okay.
right now, according to the statistics, out of our 47 state senators, 1/3 of them were appointed.
Mm.
And I know of
Wow.
at least one of them in Prince George's County.
Mm.
At least one. In the House of Delegates, there are 141 delegates, and 20% of them are appointed. And so the argument is being made that 20% of our delegates in the state of Maryland and 1/3 of our senators in the state of Maryland were not selected by the people.
So that means okay.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
So like when you think about when we talked about last week, like when I went to research, like how many government officials do we have? Elected government officials that we have. It's about 500,000,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out like our coroners can be appointed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Certain states. Yeah.
Yeah, like our. And so when you
But some of them are
are elected.
elected.
Some
Yeah.
are elected,
Yeah, right.
but in certain states where it's very prevalent that they are working, an appointed one isn't always the greatest
Yeah, exactly.
thing because they can decide they're who
They
decides
determine your cause of death.
and certain causes of death.
Autopsies.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So y'all following me. Right. That is a recipe of total unbalanced control from the government, local government, and the people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it all surrounds by economics. Like that, certain deaths you make money off of, certain ones you don't. You know, and so I don't know. Well, I do know that. Understanding what you're saying about who's elected and who gets to be in these positions, giving someone the power to appoint someone, and that person, that means you don't have this argument anymore. So you have to be very careful at who you choose to represent and govern you as a people, because based off of who that person is can be determined at who they become friends with, you know, who they employ jobs to.
Right.
And you think it's bad that you just have one bad boss, right? Having a bad boss for
Who sets the policy
of the country,
Yeah.
that's a whole new level.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, it's one of those things that I've grappled with for years. My concern is if you're running for office and you know your office is for 4 years.
Yeah.
I understand that there are sometimes exigent circumstances that say you cannot fulfill your duties for
Right.
that 4
Yeah.
years. And okay, it is what it is. I get a little concerned, though, with those who leave office because, hey, I just got offered $1 million to be a lobbyist. And you know what?
I'm take it.
Yeah, take it and run. But I'm I have to say this. I'm a little bit pleased. That's the word I want to use. Pleased with the federal government because they're actually considering a bill right now on Capitol Hill to prohibit senators
Yes.
and representatives from taking jobs as lobbyists after they leave office.
It sounds like insider trading, you know. It's
Well, they got a bill on that one too.
Yeah.
I'm pleased about that as well.
Yeah. No, but I look at the folks at the Food and Drug Administration.
Oh, the legal drug dealers.
Yeah, yeah. But they don't even listen to their own scientists.
No.
They say, you know, don't put this out there. I mean, after you spend all this money doing all these studies and all of these tests, and you say, well, hey, Mr. Head of the Food and Drug Administration, this is what I found. This is dangerous for the public. And he just takes it and says, oh, F you.
Yeah, because
You
if
know,
it
we're gonna
don't,
do it anyway.
because if it don't make dollars, it don't make
make
sense.
sense.
No, but
that one's a tricky one. And you know what? And I'll say this, having served in the government as
tricky.
long as I have, that was a rarity until recently. The Food and Drug Administration used to be one of the strictest agencies in the federal government. Man, you couldn't get nothing through them.
Right.
Big business hated dealing with them.
Right.
I don't know what has happened within
Trump.
the last.
That's what happened. That's what.
Well, you said it. I didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, within the last 8 years, it's like, what in the world happened? You want to talk about a protective agency when it came to the
Exactly.
citizens and what was put in the marketplace in the United States of America. Man,
They had.
the
our
FDA
backs.
was no joke.
Yeah. And now it is a freaking laughing stock for people who are informed.
Right.
Yeah. That's why, you know, I'm strictly vitamins and natural now.
Yep.
I'm
I
not
mean,
doing it.
after the FDA got his butt kicked over the tobacco and the nicotine, oh man, they were like, you can't get nothing out them
Yeah.
doors now. It's testing for 20 years.
Oh no, but and then I think that's when you see it from that perspective that, like I said, every people action that we have as an American people is affected. They're affected in a way in which they're unaware of, and the people who are supposed to be educating them don't. And so we put blind trust in these spaces that are actively capitalizing on our lack of knowing and our lack of awareness.
And that's what pisses me off to the nth degree of festivity
Yeah.
with the Democratic National Committee, the Central Committee, the political party committee on either side.
Yeah.
If we were smarter, if they would take some of those financial resources that they had, Jamie Harrison, and take people to school, because we already know that Lara Trump is not going to do that.
Well, just empowering them with the knowledge to
That's
be
what I'm
able-
saying.
Yeah, that's just
Take 'em
empowering.
just teach them this is how stuff works.
And you go for what you know from that. Let
Yeah.
me just give you that little seed, water you just a little bit, get you sprouting just
That's
a little
it.
bit. But people aren't even getting themselves in the soil so they can grow. They're so warped in their understanding that it's like Here it is. Majority of the people don't even know we at war.
No.
Well, I
They think it's all happy because we got little trinkets of success.
it frustrates me that some of our elected officials, when they get into office, and like y'all say, when they campaigning, you trust what they say. One of-
Not me, but go ahead.
One of the things I'll tell you, one of the things I pay very close attention to when a person's campaigning is how often they say "I,"
Yeah.
because you're a representative of the people who elected you. There is no "I." You're not supposed to do your will. It's the will of the people. And so, especially for newly elected candidates, when they okay, I'm
It's
concerned.
funny that you should say that because, and not one time did let me go back notes. I noticed that the overwhelming when folks were talking on Tuesday, I will,
Yes.
I
Yes.
will work to get this
That
over.
turns
I
me
will.
off.
Yeah, it is. It is a turn off
Who are
because this is
you?
a we the people government.
Yeah.
Exactly. And especially when you're going into a legislative position, and there are many, the Board of Education,
Yeah.
the County Council, the City Council, the House of Delegates, the Senate, the House of Representatives. Those are legislative positions, and it takes a majority vote, sometimes a super majority vote. I can't do a damn thing.
Yeah.
You've
exactly.
got to build coalitions, and you've got to build alliances, and you've got to team up with people. And let me just keep it real. Sometimes you start doing horse trading.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people I'm not a legislator. Because there's certain, having taken the oath of office more times than I care to count, I think I signed away more babies than I ever planned to have, taking the oath of office in the federal government. I take those words very seriously.
Yeah.
And so I'm always thinking about the people when I'm out here doing my thing.
Yeah, and I would contend that good governors, ERS, do take that very seriously.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so when you're it's not about what I want to hear. If there's an I want to hear what the people want. And if that's what you want and I give it to you, don't get mad at me, because that's what you asked for.
Right.
Now, in my expertise and my knowledge, I will share with you, I don't think that's going to work. Or this might not be the best approach, but let's see if we can get to where you want to be.
Right.
But I cannot stand up in front of you and say, I am going to do, no. Because one, the law may not allow me to do it.
Right.
Or
That's what I'm
even
saying.
if
No
you
one.
say-
Oh, go ahead.
Now, say, even if you say, I want to see,
Exactly.
it's not about I. This is a country of laws.
That's
This
the
is
problem.
we the people government.
That's the
and we got to
problem.
learn.
It's been about I. That be what be getting
Yeah.
me when it come to Trump, and I ain't scared. But that's what be getting me.
I ain't
Who
scared. I just-
who is this man, Hoppo? Who is this man? Like, I'm just really trying to understand. Is he God? Like, y'all, we're so scared. No,
But this is what
we're
white
not.
society has jammed down our throats, that we are conditioned to accept this bullshit.
No one person is above the law. You allow one person to, everybody, me too, me too, me too.
Yeah.
You talking about a total destruction in democracy? Do you hear me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
don't our pray 45 don't become a hashtag of you thought you had it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
we're really in a place where when we're talking about the soul of America, like we gotta at this point now, we gotta stand on what we say we are. You know, we
Exactly.
gotta stand on what that founding document really was talking about. And aside from what white society wants to believe, those rights apply to me too, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And we got to act like they do. First, we got to freaking know them.
Yeah.
Because I know I've shared with both of you all. I have had conversations with people in my age group, I am embarrassed to say, who do not know that the first 10 amendments of the Constitution is their Bill of Rights.
They probably don't know
Yeah.
the 10 Commandments either.
Yeah, probably not. And that breaks my heart because, I mean, they're not from, D.C. because here, that kind of stuff in the school system was critical. I don't know where this woman.
Look, they taught U.S. government down in South Carolina. They still teach U.S. government down in South Carolina. I don't know where they were that day in class. they
Alabama,
fell asleep.
Mississippi,
They missed
Louisiana, they don't teach it.
It's only a half a semester in high school, but I mean it's only one semester, half a school year. My bad, but they still teach it. The people just fell asleep in class. Maybe they cut that day. Maybe they were sick. I don't know, Miss Angela.
No, I go work out and I talk to the because a lot of the Maryland National Capital Parks and Rec folks are recent graduates or still in school, and this 17-year-old said, "Bill of Rights, what's that?" That was at Kentland Community Center.
They still teach it in social studies. I mean, before you get to high school, I'm confused. We need to do a better job at teaching it. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
We
It's
need to-
critical.
Yes, yes.
It's critical because,
Yes.
again, 3 things you are always going to need to know that you're going to use from the cradle to the grave is math, English, and government.
All 3. And I done used all 3 of them today.
Uh-huh.
I was a little mathematician today.
So
But yeah.
Did you
So-
see anything else on here?
So yeah, SB 29 is trying to protect our representative rights to make sure we elect our representatives. I can respect that. The bill is a little convoluted, but I get it. I get it. Now this is one that I find interesting, and
Okay.
they say it's probably going to pass because it's a
Which one?
governor's initiative.
Is that
Senate
Barr?
Bill 484 and House Bill 538. The
Okay, what's that under?
It's under housing.
Okay, let me
The Housing Expansion and Affordability Act.
okay, you want to read it, Michaela?
Oh, I like to read.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is very important,
Yeah.
and I say this because we're
SB
in a
484?
moment. Yes, we're in a point right now where a lot of people are losing their homes. People complain about rents too high. So this is important.
Yeah.
Okay. SB 484 and HB 538, the House Expansion and Affordability Act, House Speaker and Senate President. The bill incentivizes the construction of highly targeted new housing. The bill proposes modernizing local land use law, expedite and simplify approval for transit-oriented development, allow for development on former state-owned complexes, and allow housing development by nonprofit organizations. Hearings held. This is the exception to the rule because it is the governor's initiative. They will make a special effort to get this bill passed.
Now, I say this is important because I don't want people to
Thank
get this
you.
thing twisted. You really need to read the bills, because I love politicians when they start talking about affordable housing.
I hate that word, affordable.
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Now, and my concern about the bill is it's a governor's initiative, but who wrote it? Did this come from developers? And I'm telling you right now, anything that comes from developers are a little suspect to me.
Yeah.
Majority of it
Yeah.
is.
A little suspect.
Exactly.
If it ain't about
How are we going to ensure? Because the bill incentivizes the construction of highly targeted new housing. What exactly is that?
That's what it
and
said.
and y'all, some of this is
You saw me looking at you like,
yeah, some of this is rhetorical because I read stuff.
uh-huh.
What is highly targeted new housing?
Yeah.
I need y'all to understand Maryland, not just Prince George's County. The state of Maryland is in a state of redevelopment
Wow.
because we do have a lot of older homes
Right,
in this
right.
state. And there are developers who see the lucrative
Right.
opportunity
Mm-hmm.
by building newer homes
Mm-hmm.
in the suburban areas around our nation's capital.
Mm-hmm.
Again, how can we be certain that this law is going to ensure that those of us from a lower income position can afford to live in these developments? And everything I've seen so far that focuses around transit,
Mm-hmm. Transit, that's
meaning the
Larry
metro
Hogan,
bus,
Larry Hogan.
meaning the metro train.
It is real estate
That
dealings.
stuff, yes, that's focused around transit
Uh-huh.
I don't get the warm and fuzzy that those who need public transportation will ever be able to afford to live in
Yeah.
those areas.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't point it out because I'm saying wholeheartedly 100% that I support it.
Right,
I point it out because people need to go read it
right.
and you need to go testify about it because we need to make sure that even those who can't afford to buy a $500,000 condo can afford to live in an area where they can get public transportation to get to their job. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I just learned just yesterday. Good friend of mine she had questioned why there were so many cars in this particular Walmart parking lot at 5:30 in the morning. She had to make a particular run. So when she went to the store, it was virtually nobody in the store. So she had asked the store manager, like what's going on? Parking lot's packed. Where's everybody? Said a lot of homeless people live in their cars in the Walmart lots. And right after she told me that, probably a couple hours later, I had to go up to Home Depot. I mean, not Home Depot, excuse me. God forgive me. Lowe's, not Home Depot, because we don't do Home Depot because they fund our oppression. But anyway, the same situation was there. I went into the store. It was like 5 people that I could see, and that was a massive store. But same thing. People are living in their cars because some of those folks have actually sold their houses, like
Right.
you said. And, you sell your house, you think $250,000 is a lot of money. But again, not knowing the laws and all that stuff associated with that, you might walk with half of that.
Right. Because you got to pay taxes, capital gains taxes. And if you don't have another house to roll it into immediately, then capital gains hurt. 'Cause you're talking about 36%.
Exactly. And, again, this information, education, this is what we got to learn. We've got to pay attention to this kind of stuff because it kind of breaks my heart when I see folks in my age group and say, ooh, I got $300,000 for my house. Somebody offered me $300,000 for my house. I'm going to go sell it. And you don't know what's going to come after that. You don't have a freaking clue.
Well, and my question too, and I talk to a lot of our elders who get these calls, and they'll say, "Hey, they're offering me this. I only paid $85,000 for my house 40 years ago, and now they're offering me $350." And my answer is always, "Mom, Dad, do you know how much it costs to buy a new house? That $300,000 ain't gonna help you.
Right.
You can't buy a new house in this area for that amount of money. And think about it. You're not gonna make that $300,000.
Right.
You got to subtract your basis. Your basis was that 85 you paid 40 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And while you don't have a mortgage, you're now paying on that profit, because that's profit.
Yeah.
You're now
exactly.
paying taxes, state taxes and federal taxes on that money. So you're not walking away with 300,000. You may end up with about 200, give or take. Where you gonna get a house?
Yeah.
And if you put the down payment of $200,000 on another house, how much is that house gonna cost you? What is your mortgage gonna be? How much is your retirement right now? You might be living in your $85,000 home that's 45, 50 years old, and it's good for you with your $1,300 Social Security check every month.
Yeah.
But you go buy a brand new house, your mortgage gonna be way over $1,300 a month, and the interest rate's not 2.9 anymore. The interest rates have jumped back up to 7-8%.
Exactly.
And then you got to pay housing insurance, and they'll say, "Stop right there, Sweat. Just stop." They get it.
This, people, is why voting is important, because these legislators set rules for the country at the federal level. Your assemblies, state assemblies, set rules at the state level. They have to at least meet the bar. And I'll use the minimum wage as an example. The feds have it set at $7.25. That has been there since Jesus was a baby. But when you move to
Long
the
time.
state, the state says, okay, we're going to do 15. So they at least have that $7.25 built in there. This is why I say politics, you got to pay attention to all the levels, because it impacts you at all the levels. And that is why voting is so important. Ugh. So anything else we need to?
Well, look,
We talked about state stuff.
Oh yeah, we were talking about state stuff. Those were the biggies in this email. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that's in crossover that we need to pay attention to. But when
You
I
want to tell
started
them
looking
that
at
these folks that we paying like 50 grand for just have to work 90 days.
90 days, they done
Yeah,
April
they
15th.
done. Yeah, they're done.
Sign it die. We adjourn, sign it die
Did you
until
know that?
next year.
Uh-huh.
Until next year.
Yeah.
Unless there's an emergency and we got to come back and hopefully there will be no COVID again. So yeah, they go back to their regular lives.
Yeah.
Now back
But
to
people
our
don't
regularly
know
scheduled
that.
programming until
People
January
don't know
of
that.
2025. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's part time.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Look, it's. I mean, and look for those in Virginia, it's the same thing in Virginia.
Oh, is it? They
Oh
just
yeah,
work
they
90
part time too.
days?
Yeah, oh, yeah, they just finished theirs out. Y'all, we were laughing about the They still working on it. The governor threatening to have an emergency session about the whole move of the Wizards and the Mystics in the out of D.C. because they want to build that new stadium complex over in Alexandria. But yeah, we were laughing. We laugh about that. I said, it's not funny, but I feel good that Maryland not the only state got stuff going on. So.
But again, it's up to us to straighten it out. Yes, a lot of it is convoluted. A lot of it is headache, but just learn the 101 stuff.
Right.
And the 101 stuff is the United States is a country of laws. Every law can impact you as soon as you step out your door.
Yep.
So you better get smarter about stuff. This is why we're here. Anyway.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah. Any closing comments? Yeah, and we will get to this House of Representatives, folks, because again, everybody who listens knows somebody in another state. I encourage you guys to go to Ballotpedia. I don't care whatever state you live in, because they have a list of the folks who are going to be on the ballot in your state. Come for whatever, whether it's school board, whether it's state assembly, whatever it is, it's there. Go there and look at just look and see who's running.
Right.
Vet them. See, because they should have a website that lists their platform. See if you can connect with any of them. Me, I call them up or I send them an email, but that's what I do. But do something. Don't be guilty of doing nothing, because again, the soul of this nation is on the line. And I don't think Trump is going to get put in jail between there. I mean, he's struggling. He's on life support. Thank you, Letitia James. She is my new best friend. I'm going to send her an edible arrangement or some flowers. I swear, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Because she ain't playing. And she said that from day one. And the judge in Florida, the one who's trying to give him a break, she kind of backing off now.
Yeah.
That shocked the hell out of me
Yeah.
yesterday.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, we just can't hope that things fall into place. Just because this stuff is happening, we have to be vigilant. We got to pay attention. Again, if you live in a closed primary state, register, and you're registered independent, green, whatever you might be registered in. And I'm gonna give y'all a list of that, because I'll probably do it on the Facebook Live, of the 14 states in the District of Columbia who are closed primary.
Right.
You have to register Republican or Democrat. Let's get some quality folks on the ballot, especially DC, because you need to get rid of that beautiful, intelligent, thoughtful, caring, and honest. Yeah, I'm being sarcastic when I use those adjectives. That person, that's on top of your government in the District of Columbia, because she is fleecing you just like Miss Also Brooks has fleeced us in this county. And when folks do a bad job or don't do their job, in corporate America, you don't get a promotion. You get a boot. So let's wake up and pay attention to that. So with that, you got any closing comment?
Just one thing.
Mhm.
I have to remind my high school students, March 27th is a coming.
Yes, indeed.
Y'all have a couple days this weekend.
Mhm.
It's due the first day. Was the first day? Second day. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
The second,
Indeed.
the third day of your spring
Yes, sir.
break here in
Mhm.
Prince George's County.
Mhm.
Others may be on spring break this week.
Mm-hmm.
March 27th. Come on, short essay contest. Lawyers are giving away money.
Yes, indeed.
So please go to the federal bar, the Maryland chapter's website to get the details.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
again, I just want to remind you, the essay contest is still open. March 27th is 11:59 p.m. Drop dead
Yeah.
to get your essay turned in.
All right. And also, I have put a feeler out to Dr. Juanita Miller because on next week, we are going to have some Prince George's County students, them frontline folks who see what's going on in the school system. We're going to have them in studio and just let them talk. I wish I could give them a show because they told me some stuff. Oh, my God, they told me some stuff. Like when the parent complained about a teacher who wasn't given, she would give assignments and just no resource, just give the assignment, you figure it out kind of thing. And a assistant principal told that parent, well, we know she's bad, but we can't afford to get rid of her.
Oh my.
Yes. They told that to the student first and the parent second. That's a problem.
Ouch.
So anyway, we're going to have them. They're going to tell y'all, you can hear it out of the mouths of babes or next week. So Miss Sweat will not be in studio next week, but that will not preclude me from reminding y'all to put that yellow sticky somewhere in your house. And we're going to have Eminem here on next week. And I think that would be, and prayerfully, we'll get Dr. Miller. And if we can't get Dr. Miller, I'm going to go for one of these folks who I sat with on Tuesday to see if they will come in studio. So with that,
Awesome show, guys. Before we close today, know that there's a lot of value in our broadcast. Please go to youtube.com/at Angela Taylor 4119 and hit the live tab. Like and subscribe. Make it a point to take time to review the broadcast. Share with your friends. No one is going to save us but us. So with that being said, we need you to count your blessings instead of your crosses. Count your gains instead of your losses. Count your joys instead of your woes. Count your friends instead of your foes. Count your smiles instead of your tears. Count your courage instead of your fears. Count your full years instead of your lean. Count your kind deeds instead of your mean. Count your health instead of your wealth, and by all means, count on God instead of yourself. This is M Squared.
Tanya Sweat here.
and this is A21 reminding you that here at We the People, we believe that there is good in this world. And we challenge you to go out there and be the good. This is A21 again, and I am out.